Hi everybody, it's Thursday, it's March 9th, 2017. Just wanted to bring your quick attention here, all this hullabaloo about International Women's Day. Okay, now it seems to be everywhere, all over the news, all over websites, everywhere, International Women's Day. Well, what is that? That must be like Mother's Day or something, mustn't it? We're celebrating women, aren't we? And if you're against that, you must be against women. Is that what that is? Well, let's take a look at what International Women's Day is. And whenever you see stuff like this, ladies and gentlemen, always ask yourself, who created this? Okay, and what are their names? Where do all these emotional titles come from, and who are the faces behind it? Well, here it is. March 8th was declared a national holiday in the Soviet Russia in 1917. The Soviet Union, the Union of Soviet Socialist republics. You know, the ones that genocided 30 million people, including women? Yay! Go genocide! You genocided women. Yes, let's celebrate that as a Soviet Union holiday in 1917. Isn't that great? So that's where it comes from. And but just before that, the earliest notice of this Women's Day observance was held February 28th of 1909 in New York, and was organized by who? Who might that be? The Socialist Party of America. Aw, isn't that sweet? So that's where it's coming from. And notice how it's International Women's Day, not national or American Women's Day. It's international. Okay, look at the poster here, Frauentag, Women's Day, and look at that blood red flag. Look at that blood red banner, kind of awfully commie. All it needs is a hammer and sickle up here or something. So that's where it originates from. So here you have on TV, on websites, and all the rest of it, all these dumb heifers screaming their heads off about Women's Day, you know, like it's Mother's Day or something. No, it's not. And when you look up their agenda, what do they stand for? Well, it's coming from communist socialists, you know, the usual criminal suspects, okay? And they get everybody whipped up by their emotions, right? Who are most controlled by their emotions? That would be women, right? Who voted the communists into power? Who voted the socialists, the Marxists, the progressives, all these silly names, emotional names that they run by? Who votes them into power? We just had an election a few months ago. Who did females in the majority vote for? God bless the women that have a mind and can think about things and go on factual information instead of their emotions. But as the saying goes, majority rules. Okay, so it doesn't matter about the women who are intelligent, because they are outnumbered by the females that are driven by their emotions. Check the election results. Females overwhelmingly have voted for the radical left for at least 50 years, and keep electing and keep re-electing and re-electing and re-electing and re-electing. By the way, the reason I'm showing you this is Bing's picture from yesterday. My, that looks awful like 1909. Look at this, like 1909, and these are all communists, all controlled by communists, even though they're flying the American flag whenever they feel like it. Okay, so this business about Women's Day and Labor Day and Workers' Day and May Day. May Day is another communist holiday in the in the Cold War days. You'd see the tanks driving through Red Square with all the communist flags. Well, that's May Day. That's May Day. So when May Day rolls around, you'll see the same stupid heifers running around screaming their heads off about how great May Day is when they're celebrating the genocidal regime. And here's another little darling right here called Emma Goldman. And it takes some reading on. There's a lot on this witch that, long story short, came over from Russia or Lithuania, Eastern Europe, and was just off the charts. Another one that started all these feminist, so-called feminist and communist and anarchist organizations and agendas. Here we go. Goldman was an outspoken critic of prejudice against homosexuals. That sounds familiar. Social liberation should be extended to gay men and lesbians and da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, there is a ton of reading on this. Which, by the way, have you ever seen the movie Reds? With Jack Nicholson and forget the other guy, Warren Beatty. Okay. Well, you see Emma Goldman in that movie called Reds. Now, red has always been the picture and the flag and the T-shirt, and there's another one, red and black, of communism. And all these females are running around wearing red. And haven't you always wondered why these, whoever the idiots were that came up with the term red state is conservative and blue state is leftist, when red has always been the color of the communists, as you can see by all the flags, red T-shirts, Che Guevara red T-shirts, red masks over their faces, blah, 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 blah. But this is a read right here. I mean, you can just read and you just see where all this has come from over the last 100 years. It actually goes back like 150 years, but especially the last 50 years where it really took off. Well, she was also, look, self-proclaimed, by the way, self-proclaimed communist and anarchist, A for anarchist. Who are anarchists? They're communists. Okay, there it is. You're looking at it with your own two eyes. And this just goes on and on forever. So there's a lot of reading there. If you're against International Women's Day, you're against women. Utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Don't be drawn into this crap. Go look at their agenda. What is International Women's Day about? It's about immigration. That means legalizing all the illegal aliens. It's against, it's in favor of birth control. That would be the 60 million abortions, babies killed through abortion. You probably remember the conservative group there that took the hidden camera footage inside with the abortionists, where they were just laughing away in freelance saying, yeah, you can get a box of babies' heads sent to you through the mail if you want. And you just listen to that and you go, you got to be kidding me. So forth and so on. All these radical left-wing agendas. So it's got nothing to do with women. It's kind of like during the 1990s when Hillary Clinton and her mafia were saying in the 1990s, oh, you got to do it for the children. It had nothing to do with children. Just like this has got nothing to do with women, it has everything to do with ramming home and indoctrinating gullible idiots into the Communist Manifesto. And look at this. She got deported. Like I said, this is a long read, so I'm not going to read it out to you. I'll put the links below. You can see it for yourself. She was a co-founder of or sympathizer of the American Civil Liberties Union. If you're against the American Civil Liberties Union, then the overt or covert or subliminal messages, you're against America and you're against civil liberties. Absolute nonsense. Anyway, long story short, she got chased all over the place. They deported her back to the Soviet Union. I think she met with Vladimir Lenin, blah, blah, blah. So she died in Canada. So where is she buried? She's buried in, Goldman's grave is in Illinois' Forest Home Cemetery. Why is that? Why was this enemy of the United States allowed to be brought in here, didn't die here, was chased out the country, and is allowed to be brought back from Canada into the United States? Well, who was the president in 1940? Was it Roosevelt? And was his vice president Mr. Truman? All these leftists, all these radical leftists. Now, what if they brought a Nazi sympathizer that they chased all over the country, deported? What if they brought them back? What if they brought back members of the Gestapo, members of the SS, and buried them next to her? They would go nuts. But this is okay. And it says, where is it? The U.S. Immigration Naturalization Service allowed her body to be brought back to the United States. She was buried in Waldheim Cemetery, now named Forest Home Cemetery, blah, 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 graves of other labor and social activists. Well, isn't that special?